Good afternoon, ladies and gents. Welcome to Crypto Chat UK. Now, as you can see from the countdown clocks that I've created, I am wanting to talk about Bitcoin and Litecoin's halvening. Now, I did say this in a couple of videos before. It needed to be talked about, and I was going to do a video on it. I'm hoping the dates are right. Let me know if I've got this wrong at all on the timescales and what's left. But I set up these countdown clocks, which I'm probably going to leave in place for all the videos. Certainly right up, obviously right up to the day that this is gonna occur. Okay, so we're looking at approximately 414 days for Litecoin, and we're looking at approximately 405 days for Bitcoin's halvening. Now, these are really important. I've got some notes here. I'm going to go through them. So if you don't know anything about halvening, you might learn something here as well. But it is worth thinking about. So whether you're a seasoned investor or just into the technology, you've been into it for a while or not, this is something you have to think about, because short term and long term, this does affect it, and is programmed in place. It's fixed in place. Okay, but we'll go through. I've got my coffee, which I kind of need today. We'll go through the notes. We'll have a look at the market as well, see how it's doing briefly, and I've got a little graph that I want to show you as well. But the halvings, okay, so the halvings occur at 840,000 blocks for Litecoin and 810,000 blocks for Bitcoin. Okay, so the rewards for the miners halve at this point, right, which is very important. So they halve at this point. So for Litecoin will go from 25, because currently it's awarding miners 25 Litecoins for the blocks, and it will go from that per block to 12.5 Litecoin per block. Now, this will happen for Litecoin about the 6th of August this year, which is really coming on as fast. If you look at 114 days, it's not far away. Okay, so that'll happen then. And for Bitcoin will go from 12.5 Bitcoins per block, will go to 6.25 rewards for the miners per block. And this will happen, well, approximately the 24th of May 2020. Now, I'm pretty sure I got the dates right. I don't think it can change to that catastrophic amount, but it happens approximately every 4 years. Okay, now then, so why does this happen? Why was this basically coded into the system and into the protocol? And it's basically to force the deflationary aspect of the currency. There is other reasons for it, but it's basically to force the deflationary aspect of it. So this, along with knowing its total supply at all time, it helps with the control of inflation. And that is governed, basically, it's governed by the algorithm. Okay, so you've got the algorithm all set up. It is coded in, it's hard coded into it. These halvings are going to happen. There's no doubt about it. That's what happens. It's hard coded into it. Okay. So this will be the third halving for Bitcoin. So next year will be the third halving for Bitcoin, and it'll be the second for Litecoin this year. Okay. But now, Bitcoin's first halving happened in 2012, and then obviously 4 years later, 2016, Bitcoin's second halving happened. Now, Litecoin's first halving occurred in 2015, and now it's coming to its second halving, which is August this year, and that will be its second halving. Okay. So what will this do to the price? Well, there's historically, we can look historically. Obviously, we've only been 2 halvings happened so far for Bitcoin and 1 for Litecoin. But you can kind of look at historically what's occurred. Okay, so I'll give you a little brief of what's occurred, and then I'll show you this diagram as well. Okay, so Bitcoin had bottomed 378 days before its first halving. It had bottomed at 378 days before its first halving, but then it rose 510% up to the day it halved. Okay, so after it bottomed, so I'll show you on the diagram anyway. I should be able to show you on this diagram. It's not a great diagram, but it's pretty good. So if you look here, it bottomed here, which was, like it said, 378 days before. Okay, and then when it came to the point of the halvening, right, which was 2012, it grew by 510%, or just over. All right, now as you can see here again, Bitcoin itself, it basically came to this date, and it bottomed out. It bottomed out here. And it bottomed out. Let's have a look at one of those, because I can't read that very well. It continued to rise, by the way, after each time. And if you look at this one, where it bottomed out here, and it went to its first halving, and then it continued to rise. I mean, you look at this, it had a pullback then, continued to rise. Now, we're not zoomed right in on this graph. We've extended the view quite far out, of course. But if you look at that, it continued to rise there. Okay, so then it bottomed out here. All right? So, but it rose by 510% up to the day halved. That was on the first one, and it continued to rise. and its scarcity was being part of it. It was part of the growth, the scarcity. But it bottomed again here, okay, and then 539 days before, this is what it was, 539 days before it bottomed here, okay, then it rose by 309% when it came to the halvening. But as you can see again, apart from a little drop there, it continued to rise and it got up to its all-time high here. I mean, you can see how the graph works anyway, and you can see how it's come across. Obviously, we've had sideways movement since, as you can see, all the issues we had after 2018. But this is where it got to its highest point so far, okay? So between that and that, it rose by 309%, and here it rose 510%. I hope you can see that there on the graph. So if you look at it, some very important things happen there. Now, will that happen for Litecoin as well? Well, very similar things have happened with Litecoin, of course. I won't show you the graph for that. Something you've got to think about, okay? Something you really got to think about. Now, a lot of people will start investing in, okay? Especially as it comes nearer the time, and it will grow. So there's various reasons for the market to grow. We've had continued growth here recently, and we've had some support. If you look at, if we just put me down there and we have a look at the current market now. Current market cap's 172 billion. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens between now and the halvening, and obviously after the halvening as well. Don't forget, it does make this scarcer, which is very important for similar to stuff like precious metals or just precious assets, just assets in general. The scarcity of it is very important on the value of it. Okay, and this is one of many aspects that make these cryptocurrencies worth a considerable amount of money and potential growth. Like I've said just recently, not a financial advisor, definitely look at yourself, but you need to know about these things. Whether you're thinking about going in, whether you're already in, you need to be thinking about these things. Now, I am obviously continuing to accumulate as time goes on, and these are one of the reasons why I look for these dips and drops as it's coming up to these points. Okay, so don't forget, we have had major growth running up to it, running up to these halvenings, and then after it as well, you get some major growth as well, and then that's sustained. And it's not over a short period of time, it's over a considerable amount of time. It continues to grow due to it. Now, this is massive. This is a huge thing to think about. The scarcity of these coins and this halvening that creates even more scarcity is very, very important. Now, obviously, there is some other stuff to do with miners and being profitable. Okay, that's something that we probably need to save for another video. But the thing with miners and the being in profit, there is built into the system as well, built into the algorithm, is a way to make sure it continues to be profitable. So if it becomes non-profitable for too long, the actual code gets easier. Okay, so if the hash rate goes down because miners are leaving, this is just a quick brief of it. The hash rate goes down, the miners are leaving, and it becomes non-profitable, and it's sustained for too long, then the code gets easier, and then obviously it's much easier to mine them. More miners will probably jump on board, the hash rate goes up, and so forth. Okay, you can look into that into more detail, of course you can. That's what you want to be looking at. But a brief look at the market before I go. We're looking at Bitcoin currently at $5,000.87. $5,087. That is fantastic. If it stays above the 5,000 mark, I mean, as you can see, if we have a look at Bitcoin itself, we had some major growth, you see, over a couple of week period. And if we have a look at the graph on Bitcoin, you can see when it comes on, when it eventually comes on, you can see, if we look over the last month, for example, over the last month we say, you can see why it went up. We had a considerable rise, obviously, well over $1,000 in the end. Okay, and it hit its high point here, 5.2, and another high point here at 5.3. And it's basically been kind of sideways movement here, give or take $50 or $100, and we've landed still. Now, so it's been supported over the $5,000 mark, which is what we want. This is what is sustained growth. Yes, we'll get these kind of big jumps now and again, but if we could have sustained supported growth, this is the important thing for me, and this is what I want to see: long-term sustained growth. Okay. And as you can see now, XRP currently on 32 cents, Ethereum on 164, and Bitcoin's dominance is back up to 52%. It went to about 50%. I do like that, but there does seem to be, if you look at it, there does seem to be changes in the dominance as the altcoins grow, of course. Now, the whole market seems to go up, even when Bitcoin does lose some of its dominance. It still seems to get really good. You want to have a look at all these graphs anyway. If you're not on CoinMarketCap, which I'm sure you are, have a play around with it, look at it properly, and check it out. If you want to check all the other coins out, Litecoin obviously is very, very important for me. Currently $78. That did go up to well over 90 odd. We'll have a quick look at that before I go as well. And that did go up to over 90 odd dollars. I'm pretty sure of it. So if we have a look, if we go down, we can see what the market was on. Just bear with my system. Gives me a chance to have a little bit of my coffee. So if we look over the last month for Litecoin, and we'll have a look at what its kind of highest point. Yeah, it didn't go over the 100 mark. If you look, it was like $95 to $98 at some point. That was about as high as it went. It's currently down to $78. So I'm not saying it's now time to buy, of course, but we keep an eye on the market. There is some people who are predicting bigger drops, and some people predicting bigger movement upwards. We are considered to be outside of the bear market now and more on the bullish sentiment. But who knows? At the end of the day, what I'm looking at is this sustained growth, but also these supported levels and being really, really solid. And I think that's what we're at right now. I'm going to keep an eye on it, but I think that 5k mark, if we can keep that, that would be substantial. That would be a substantial sign. Anyway, guys, I am sorry if this seemed any rush at all. I hope you got some great information. And don't forget, these clocks are going to be here forever. They're going to be here, well, at least until the dates that the halving occurs. I hope they're of any use to you. 113 days approximately, or just under 114 days for Litecoin, and 405 days for Bitcoin. Let's see what happens there. If you like this video, hit the like button, of course. Please don't forget to share. And if you have not subscribed, then definitely think about subscribing and hitting that notification bell, because I can do with all the help you can get. I'm only a small YouTuber. Do want to get the message out there. Do need testing on this stuff as well. If you've got any questions, give us a shout. If you've got any comments, let me know. Good or bad, I'm always open to them. So I will be speaking to you soon. Take it easy, guys. See you later.